The following is a special presentation of the PDF Sports Network.
What did it do? What it do? What it do? What it do? Hi! Yes, I am in the man cave, and Anthony is with me because the Patterson that uses the man cave the most is not me, it is Anthony Patterson. He allows me. What'd you say?
Stop lying.
I'm lying now? That's what we're doing?
I stopped manually using it. I'm gonna use this so then I can get the last cappuccinos.
The last cappuccino.
Last cappuccinos.
I see. Let's see. Do we hear? Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Oh, I don't hear me. See, that's why I do a sound check, because I can't hear me. Can y'all hear me out there? I don't hear me. See, that's why I do a sound check, because I can't hear me. Now I hear me. Good stuff. All right. Good morning, everybody out there. And Anthony has weird sounds coming from the TV. Good stuff. All right. Good morning. So, September is here, and the weather has absolutely destroyed what was left of what we were doing. What's up, EFA? Independent guys. What up to the Bleezys? If you ask me what's going on with the Thursday show, I will tell you. You should ask them what's up with the Thursday show. You know what? I'm going to give a little pep talk, a little coach's pep talk today to the Bleezys. All the Bleezys. Drew, I think you're, well, I'll get to it in a second, but I think guys are running out of vacation days. The summer's over. It's time to get back to it. I would say work, but it's volunteer. So, I don't want to go too hard. But Drewski, Hefes, what we doing? However, if there was any time to take off, oh, semipro history, I didn't need to. Dogs only, got it, shots fired. And the AFL, what up? New York City football, what up? Midwest, I'm going to invite my guy Duncan on to talk about the Midwest. And ordinarily me and him battle about what's going on between the Midwest and the East and this and that. So today would be the perfect day for him to be up and at 'em and to check in, because I can't say much because we ain't got nothing going on over here. EFA Uncensored. Does EFA Uncensored get used anymore? Semi-Pro Network, boom. Welcoming everybody. Semi-Pro Sports Center, bam. Minor League Football. Again, if there is a group that I have not broadcasted about or broadcasted in, and you know what, I'll get you in the MLF Elite group because I got Sharks guys. If Crow wants to cancel me out of it, I'm fine with that too. But I do want to absolutely report on what's going on and invite anybody in to talk shop. AFA, nope, boom, boom, boom. I think I got everybody. Gotcha. Okay, so for those of you new to the program, this is Way Too Early with Pat, reporting on all semi-pro news. We are hanging out here at the Man Cave. We got some stuff to talk about. Hey, let's go. Good morning, everybody. Let's rock. Okay, so what do we have going on today? Well, let me pull up the scores from yesterday. Oh, already done. Because we didn't play a lot of football yesterday. So yesterday was an opportunity for teams to, well, in terms of the East. Up north, they played some football, and I definitely want to give you that rundown really quickly. So let's start with the EFA. In EFA yesterday, Kingston, oh, just kidding. No football was played yesterday. Checked in with Spence, he hasn't gotten back to me yet. I guess he's, usually he has crazy schedules. Anybody who knows Spencer. But I just checked in. The Bandits and the Gravediggers did not even start their game at 1-6-1 with the impending storms and such. That was a decision that they made. Would I agree or disagree? I guess hindsight is always 20/20, but they made a pretty good decision because the Pharaohs and the Knowles went out there in Kings Bay, and it was absolutely dreadful weather, and they got to the second quarter, and their game was suspended due to the rain, which is what the EFA guys wanted to avoid. Rain, of course we play in rain, so let me not, carry fake news in this thing. I can't believe I said the word fake news, but you know the vibes. Yeah, no games played. Hey, good morning, shop. So, when it comes to electricity, so my high school coach, when people would ask him, are we going to practice today if it's raining, he would say, the skin is waterproof. You're waterproof, so yes, we have practice today. And one time there were some pending thunderstorms and such, and somebody asked, hey, I guess we're waterproof. And I said, yeah, but the body does not handle electricity very well. So in thunderstorm situations with lightning in the area, can't play football. So that's where we were at. Not much going on there. So in the Midwest, it looked like there was a lot of football going on. In New England, there was a lot of football going on. So I will ask those guys if they want to check in and take it from there. I do have a couple of things to go over, and then I'll invite people on if they want to chit chat. Otherwise, it's going to be a pretty quick show. Anthony, who's the one in the background who monopolizes my man cave,
I stopped a little.
Right, so he had baseball yesterday and Friday. Cecilia had softball yesterday and today, and he has now soccer. His first game was postponed. First game was canceled. His second game is coming up at 12:30. So we'll make this pretty quick. So EFA no games played next week on the docket. Bandits and Lions play. That game will be up in Kingston. Let me check that out if Anthony is not monopolizing my schedule. And in the other game, Demon Knights are hosting the Connecticut Tar Heels. If you might want to check that out, I've been out to Long Island, out to Granny in a minute. That seems like a pretty enticing game. Again, if Anthony's not monopolizing the schedule here, I'll come check that game out. In the LAL, again, Pharaohs and Knowles. What did we learn from the Pharaohs and Knowles? That was the game that we were all wanting to see. I'm not going to sit here and hyper analyze what we saw in the first quarter and a half of play. But what did come to mind was the matchups and how the Pharaohs were absolutely blown out by the Bears, but now can not only hang with, but we're actually leading the Knowles when play was suspended. The line play, you talk about matchups later, dude. You talk about matchups between teams. The Knowles, the Pharaohs match up really well with the Knowles. For some reason, the Pharaohs do not match up well with the Bears. It is a very intriguing thing. So for those that just, very simply put the analysis at, well, this team usually beats this team, and this team usually beats that team, so therefore that team would beat that team. You can't really do it that way because football is a game of matchups, and there's so many different, I was about to say micro matchups, or some thereof. I was going to make up a word, but I'm not going to do that anymore because it's not a word. But there's so many different aspects to the game that could give one team a clear advantage over another, or just be like the kryptonite of one particular team that ends up giving you these interesting records. And Drewski, to his credit, made the prediction that there's nobody in the LAL that's going to be undefeated by the time that this season is over. And even though it was a quarter and a half, there's a lot of football to be played. The Pharaohs up 6-0. I'm not sure if they're going to resume play on that. I would imagine that would be the case, or they would just start the game over again. That I don't know. But I do know it's not in the record books because it got stopped in the second quarter. And again, that score was 6-0. In the other game, there was football played in the other game. The Red Raiders, EPR, was defeated by the Bears. The Bears, they were home in that one, and I think the final score of that was 19-0. So East Penn is the dark horse in this thing, and especially with all the teams that have dropped out, moved out, or what have you, they have kind of made their way, to the back end of the standings, because the teams that have dropped out were ones that we speculated that EPR would be able to beat. So they're going to have tough sledding, but they're hanging in there, 19-0, not bad. And I did see the live that JP had, and they were hanging in there. It wasn't like a absolute, bludgeoning or what have you. So next week, not sure if LAL is going to update their schedule. What was it supposed to be when things started out was Bears versus Jersey Sharks. Obviously, that's not happening. Silk City Sharks versus the Brooklyn Seminoles. Obviously, that's not happening. And then the one game that should happen, but again, I'll try to get clarification from some of those LAL guys once they dry off from the rain yesterday, is East Penn is supposed to be hosting the Pharaohs next week. So we'll see what the schedule for that one holds. So that is the local football. Let me go through New England real quick and then open it up. Hey! My favorite person in yours, Mrs. Patterson, thank you. Ever come to the Patterson Casa? I know the alcohol is something that flows in our household. However, pardon to my Muslim brothers, although some of my Muslim brothers don't think I don't peep that you guys talk that Muslim stuff and then beating bacon as well, and then saying Merry Christmas, which is kind of different, but whatever. Mrs. Patterson, definitely at the top of the rankings when it comes to hosting, the host with the most. All right, so in the ECFL games yesterday. So they got some weirdness going on. I'll call it out. It's some weirdness. I'm not going to bug out too much because a lot of things are in a state of disarray, and at least they're playing football. The game last week that was supposed to be made up because the Valley Generals player got into the car accident. That was the game that was supposed to call. It was supposed to be rescheduled for Labor Day weekend. We know how successful that is, playing Labor Day weekend or Memorial Day weekend. Don't put your makeup weekend for those weekends. Put a makeup weekend that makes a little bit of sense, and I would put it in the middle of the season, not the end of the season, because if you're actually going to make it up, it doesn't get made up if guys are looking to go to the beach or, celebrate whatever the holiday is. So when we talk about the bye weeks and that debate of how many bye weeks you have that the EFA dealt with for the number of years, that was not the weekend to play football. And they didn't. So the Valley Generals got a forfeit win over the Rhodey Ravens last week. What the reasons were and whether you were going to press them to actually play. Again, I would ordinarily go ham on that, but again, so much turkey going around, no need for ham. So this week, sorry to laugh at my own joke, Valley Generals played the Troy City Titans. The Northeast Bulls got a bye into the championship game because they were tied with the Valley Generals for the best record in the ECFL. Somehow the ECFL, who had 7 teams, ended up splitting into AAA and AA at the end of the season. And the top 3 teams ended up going into 2 versus 3. Winner goes and plays 1 in the championship game. And then 6 versus 5. And then the winner goes into this AA championship game against the 4. I believe that's how it works. So there was a lot of reserve judgment, but whatever. The Valley Generals ended up playing Troy City Titans. And this was a game that I saw a couple weeks ago, and Valley Generals handled it pretty well, although they got off to a very slow start. But with that being said, that first half of football, Troy City, again, one of those odd matchups, they matched up very well against the Valley Generals, especially because the Valley Generals offense absolutely struggled. So this was a 6-0 game. Valley Generals were struggling again, and Troy City scores a touchdown, ties the game up at 6. Now I say this, and shout out to Coach Black, seems to be a weekly thing. I gotta give a shout out to Coach Black, because gotta give the man his due, because he always was preaching special teams, and he always says, usually during training camp when he goes over special teams in practice, hey, look, special teams will win you a game or they'll lose you a game. How much you work on it is going to decide which one it is. So Troy City goes to line up for the extra point, which would give them the lead. The extra point gets blocked, and Markel Dobbs, I think his name is, returns the blocked extra point 90 some odd yards the opposite way. And big shout out to the Troy City Titan player that tried all the way to that, like was running with him for all 90 yards, trying to make the tackle, trying to just force the tie to be kept. But Dobbs ended up in the end zone, and that was the difference in this one. 8-6 is the final score, and the Valley Generals advanced to the championship game for round 3 against the Northeast Bulls. And that one is going to be a nasty game. The last time they played, I was at that game. Those two organizations do not like each other in a very positive football way. So that should be a really good championship game. So whether it was the right way or the wrong way to get to that result, I think the result in terms of what their championship game is going to look like is what everybody wants to see. So I believe it's next week, Valley Generals, Northeast Bulls for the ECFL championship. Now I say championship with air quotes because there was another game yesterday, the Rhody Ravens, who had forfeited the previous week, played the Randolph Oilers, and they won that game 16-6. So after forfeiting last week and then beating a Randolph Oilers team that struggled to get out of their own way, the Rhody Ravens, I believe, again, I will confirm this, the Rhody Ravens, with that win, advanced to the AA championship game, or whatever they're calling it, to play the Tri-State Bruins, who, by way of seeding, ended up in the championship game, AA championship game. However, again, all year, the rankings were ranked 1 through 7. The number 7 team was the Connecticut Lightning, who usually fold either mid-season or before the season starts. Is what it is. MLF guys, big shout out to y'all. A lot of these teams I'm not familiar with. 2 of the teams I'm familiar with. So again, I'll just go with what I see. And those 2 teams I'm familiar with, the Jersey Sharks and the New Jersey Eagles, they played yesterday. Sharks came out on top. It was a pretty good game. Definitely want to check out some of the highlights from that one. And Jersey Sharks, overall, again, started 0-3 in the LAL. Take their, whatever drama and whatever issues that were had, they take their show to the MLF, and it seemed to be a better fit. Here's the MLF Elite. This is considered to be fall. This is their rankings. So the Jersey Sharks, this is before the victory yesterday, are seeded number 2, or ranked number 2. Let me not say seeded, because seeded is based on actual record. The River City Spartans, gotta check those guys out. Virginia Mustangs, Moco Titans. That's, to me, funny because we call Moco, M-O-C-O, it sounds like boogers in either Yiddish or Spanish. Is it Moco? Whatever. My wife and my mother-in-law refer to Moco as boogers, but whatever. But the Titans are number 4. Jersey Eagles ranked number 5. Gloucester. I'm from Jersey. I know how to say Gloucester. Gloucester Knights at 6. Charm City Assassins at 7. And the Maryland Cougars at 8. And that is the MLF. NEFL. Pardon. They're in playoffs. Playoffs yesterday. Mill City Eagles, 40-28 over the Green Jackets. They advance into the Final Four. I believe that's their wild card game. Teams that are left in that one include the Boston Bandits. Golly, Boston Bandits. I'm forgetting this. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Mill City advances. I'll give you the Final Four. I'll post those up because playoffs we definitely need to cover, and cover with more clarity than what I'm giving to you right now. Haverhill Hitmen ended up winning over the Mass Warriors 28-12. Big shout out to the Hitmen, good guys over there. And the Rhode Island Riptide blanked the Black Panthers 24-0. Today there's a game in Vermont, up in South Burlington, Vermont Ravens versus the New London County Silverbacks. And that's the rundown. Boom. Oh, football that was played, not played, whatever. So, what do we got? The bait and switch. The bait and switch is crazy. So, morning. So, let's see what we got. I got my guy Drewski up in here. I got East Coast Live up in here. What's up? Shout out to those guys. Is Duncan in here? I want to talk about Midwest because the Midwest guys. He better be on here. Maybe he may have slept. It might be way too early for him. So I'm going to wake him up and invite friends to watch. Okay. Boom. There we go. And then that's pretty much it. So 6-team league with 2 divisions is absolutely nuts. I would 100% agree with that. Tim Chesky, you want to come on here and explain what they did? And again, I know you're not explaining for them. You're just explaining what happened with them. Anybody else want to send me a request? I want to go for another light. Good morning. What up, Pagan? So anybody want to talk real quick? Boom, boom, boom. Let's see what Cats is doing this morning. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, everybody's pretty much in the mood that I'm in. Like, yeah, it's ain't not much to talk about. And I know that, yeah, Duncan's not up. Messaged him before. Cool. That's all I got. So what's going on ahead of schedule? Let's go. So I will post the spreads for this upcoming week. This week, Mother Nature covered the spread a couple of times and was absolutely undefeated. Enjoy your NFL Sunday. Go Birds, of course. And that's pretty much it. So for another episode of Way Too Early with Pat, David Patterson, signing off.